Greetings. In this special video, the subject to cover with minimal interruption and commentary is what parts of the Torah did CharlesDowell Jr. break? So to begin here, and those of you who want to follow along and have a quick reference guide for excellent reasons, go to Google search and either go to Hallelujah Scriptures, the Torah of Yahweh, Paleo Hebrew, from their website for a hard hand copy. Then there is other options if you prefer from your computer or your mobile device and such, is Yah Scriptures, YAH apostrophe S Scriptures. And from that website, they have alternative means to download scriptures along with additional apocryphal book. And there's some other areas out there on the internet you can follow along too for consistency. So the minimal commentary to start here is, people, you're going to hear and find out how much of a non-believer and heathen that CharlesDowell Jr. is. First and foremost of the Ten Commandments, no other mighty ones before Yahweh, your Elohim. He has greatly broken that, especially by the trident symbol that has multiple idols put together with it. Also, CharlesDowell Jr. serves the government. He's one of those, he has a lot of fruit of COINTEL operations. So, you can't just say you believe in the Most High or Elohim, Yah, and then turn around and be an agent of Satan, especially one who infiltrates the body or tries to gather some of his people just to take them to jail and put them in jailhouses, as well as to sacrifice them and all sorts of evil. Number 2, carved images. That's been broken as well. The name of Yahweh, you do not bring a knot. Exodus 27. He has claimed the name of the Almighty Elohim multiple times and has violated that. Every time he wants to be operating underneath a religious spirit, he uses his name, his titles, only to bring it to naught, just so that he can look good in front of regular, everyday people. Breaking the Sabbath day. There are spiritual ways and physical ways to break the Sabbath. One of the last physical ways I've seen him break the Sabbath, and he more than likely did not repent of it, is when he was up there on that podium and he ran 3 circuits from the podium down the steps on one end and back the steps on the other end. He did this 3 times. There's only righteous reasons that you would exert your body on the Sabbath, and that was covered in the New Testament. We have an ox that's fallen in the ditch, animal that's fallen in the ditch, or you have the situation where you're required to do a righteous deed on the Sabbath. Neither of those were kept. Also, he has the women consistently cook almost every day when possible. So he has others breaking the Sabbath with him, by any other shape, fashion, form, and mean. Especially his clapback videos and his retaliation videos. He's supposed to be giving the message instead of causing trouble and all sorts of evil on the Sabbath. Parents, father and mother. Respect your father and your mother so that your days are prolonged upon the earth. He's brought his dad and his mother onto his slave camps, especially at the main one at Lafayette, Tennessee. And he barely gives them the minimal. And then his natural mother's on pharmaceutical drugs and claiming he's getting her off pharmaceutical drugs through healing and everything else. That's also been broken too. Murder. You do not murder. Exodus 20:13. That has been broken as well because witches, warlocks, wizards, and the such, when they throw curses and demons at people and use various means to send a demon to hijack you and manhandle you, they will cause people to have spirits of suicide to entice them and motivate them to go get into a situation, even to get deleted, to be erased. So his hands are not clean, not especially in the spirit world. His hands they're full of blood. He has broken gnats, and he has communicated that he would desire to murder Pastor Rufus. So it says right there in the New Testament, if anyone hates their brother in their heart, they got murder in their heart. So you're supposed to go over to someone and talk to them. If they can't hear after one or two people, two individuals in the faith, especially after 2 or 3 admonitions, there's an opportunity you have to disregard them as a heathen and publican, have little to nothing to do with them, so you put them out from the midst of you or dealings with them until perhaps one day, just maybe, they come to repentance. So right off the bat, most of these has already been broken. Adultery, Exodus 20:14. Yes, CharlesDowell Jr. has broken that. And he has done everything he can to shut up everyone from saying anything, threatening to kick them off his slave camps if they snitched. Didn't Jesus get kicked out of the temples every time he spoke the truth? And it was hard facts. Why are you at Straightway Truth Ministry waiting to do over there? Hey, if you get kicked off Straightway Truth Ministry, Lance, you get yourself a badge of honor. You're supposed to be conformed to the image of the Father's Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. Stealing, you do not steal. Exodus 20:15. That's been broken big time. Lying, Exodus 20:16. You do not bear false witness against your neighbor. Broken as well too. Coveting, Exodus 20:17. That's been broken as well too on many occasions. Yahweh Elohim is one, Echad. That's been broken discreetly because he's been trying to insert idols in all forms of idolatry and the doings of them, including Kabir. He's permitted Kabir to bring in the whole bowing down manner so that they can cause people to commit idolatry by bowing down to people. Also, he's been trying to call himself a king, last a prophet, and all these other titles. In one of his videos, he said that it's all of Yah's, but it's mine. So he's trying to steal the glory from Yahweh. Love Yahweh. You shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, with all your might. That's been broken. Revere Yahweh. Deuteronomy 10:20. Revere Yahweh your Elohim, serve him and cling to him, and swear by his name. That's been broken. Profaning his name. Leviticus 22:32. And you do not profane my Kodesh name, and I shall be Kodesh among the children of Israel. I am Yahweh who Kodesh you, set you apart. CharlesDowell Jr. has violated that too. Blaspheming the name of Yahweh. Some of these individuals, they know how to blaspheme without directly and plainly blaspheming. Has in the report been brought out that he has tried to equate the Ruach HaKodesh, the authentic Holy Spirit, to wine, and telling people they must be intoxicated and so forth? I wouldn't entertain that doctrine at all, period. There's some other individual out there who's done something like that too. I want to try with that form, shape, fashion, either in any effort. Swearing falsely by his name. That's been broken. He's been using that to grandstand, to convince people he's at the Most High, and trying to get people to think he's a man following Yahweh just to get the guard down, and so he can keep them from critically thinking and having a sound mind, so that he can do his dark arts on them, to gaslight them and put them into a land of make-believe, make them think that he's serving when he's all talk. Guard his commands. That's been broken. He's been affixing and adjusting the words so that he can control people. His word, Deuteronomy 4:2. Do not add to the words which I command you, and do not take away from it, so as to guard the commands of Yahweh, your Elohim, which I am commanding you. That's been broken. Do not try Yahweh. Deuteronomy 6:16. Do not try Yahweh, your Elohim, as you tried him at Massah. That's been broken. Be Kodesh. For I am Yahweh, who is bringing you up out of the land of Mizraim, to be your Elohim. You shall be Kodesh, for I am Kodesh. That's been broken. Obey the messenger, Nabi Yahweh. Exodus 23:21 to verse 22. See, I am sending a messenger before you, to guard you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I prepared. Be on guard before him, and obey his voice. Do not rebel against him, for he is not going to pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. That's been broken. When righteous individuals such as Pastor Rufus, who started as Brother Rufus, then Elder Rufus, at Shreveport Ministry, Yahweh has brought in righteous ones towards straightway, and eventually they packed up and left. Anyone else is still left, they still have to pack up and leave before it's too late. And when the presence of the Ruach HaKodesh was ushered away That means, to some level of degree, Yahshua HaMashiach was around the environment. The presence was there. And so CharlesDowell Jr. has defiled Yahweh and kicked against him so much that the presence has left. You ever listen to someone who's anointed when they're speaking the word? And you ever listen to someone who's not born again trying to speak the word? It's a major difference. Someone who's not born again at the Ruach Kodesh, usually their speech is dry, dull, in some occasions even boring. The feast days. These have been broken as well too, in general, because the original appointed times, especially in 2024 to be on it, he has switched the feast days by roughly 1 month so that he can get the most amount of money. That's high level wickedness, and that's a spirit of Antichrist, a spirit of anti-Messiah. Seventh day Sabbath, that's been broken. Pesach, Passover, that's been broken, especially of 2025. Exodus, Passover, that doesn't apply in this current situation, but if things were to hit the fan, that would be violated too. Oh yeah, here's a bonus right here too. CharlesDowell Jr., if he was really trying to play righteous, he would especially break the delayed Passover. Also, since he's been given the delayed Passover or altered Passover by a month difference, he has caused plenty to fail to keep the Passover. Numbers 9:13. But the man who is clean and is not on a journey and has failed to perform the Passover, that same being shall be cut off from among his people, because he did not bring the offering of Yahweh at his appointed time. That man bears his sin. The law of Passover. They talk about keeping it and the way they do it. It fits in there too. There's been a division saying that if you eat lamb during the Passover, it's blasphemy. But it's saying right here that if you're going to take the Passover, Exodus 12:43-49. This is the law of the Passover. No son of a stranger is to eat of it. Wait a minute. Straightways loaded with strangers, criminals, crooks, and those who are not born again. But any servant of a man has bought for silver. When you have circumcised him, then let him eat of it. Hold up, wait a minute. Herbert, quote unquote, brother Herbert, he has not been circumcised and he's been there for Passover. I could stop right there. CharlesDowell Jr. has broken that and caused others to break it too. Net South, Unleavened Bridge, that's been broken because it's been conducted at the wrong time with the Passover, especially with the first fruits. we can lump in there law of Masas, the eating of unleavened breads, because there's supposed to be no unleavened products there. However, some, especially from the Ashkenaz community, they have a thing where they like to take all their leaven and go put it somewhere outside of their property, or rent out their house or sell off one of their houses or lands and have all their leaven over there, and probably go back and buy it again after the Passover, or go dig it up or gather it up after the Passover. So it's, with all the hypocrisy going on at Straightway, I'm not going to give that a chance, especially when they took the Passover at the wrong time. That's been broken. So when they should originally take Passover, they should have not been eating leavened bread at all, or any leavened products. Pentecost, that's been broken. Yom Torah, Day of Trumpets, that's been broken. Kept to the wrong time. Yom HaKippur, Day of Atonement, that's been broken. Sukkot, Feast of Booths, Tabernacles, that's been broken. Shemini Esrei, great day, that's been broken. Sabbath laws, rest, do not work, Exodus 35:2, that's been broken. Do not cook, Exodus 16:23. So the women in the land have been expected to cook, have food cooked and prepared during the Sabbath. You can't just have any, cold cuts or plain food to where you just leave the burner on through the night so that the food can be warm in the morning. Goat milk, granola, eggs, beef bacon, turkey bacon, then for dinner, salad, a salad bar, some meat that's been in the slow burner or the cookers. Light no fire, that's been discreetly broken. Stay in your place. They don't want to talk about that, don't they, huh? Clean and unclean, and you should, Leviticus 20, 25, 26, and you shall make a distinction between clean beasts and unclean beasts, and between unclean birds and clean. And you do not make yourself abominable by beast or by bird or whatever creeps on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. That's been broken, especially through the pendant. So even by the pendants, that's been broken too. Clean animals for food, Leviticus 11:3. On the down low, CharlesDowell Jr. has been making plenty of visits towards Cracker Barrel, where there's plenty of swine there. He's on vacation, and the reports have been brought out that his women wear bikinis instead of wearing dresses. The only time they ever wear dresses is when they're on camera. Unclean animals, that's been broken. Alongside with that, clean fish, There's shrimp and lobster at those resorts. Unclean fish. Clean birds. Unclean birds. So he's messing around with some serious stuff when he's not on camera. Concerning the insects here, they do some dark arts over there, some different type of witchcraft and so forth. I'm not going to leave that outside the ballpark. The Most High wants to reveal that, it's going to be revealed. Also concerning blood too, the eating of blood, that's up in the air too. The meat's supposed to be thoroughly cooked. The fat, oh yeah, this, he wants to measure Pastor Rufus by this standard, and yet he's eating the fat. Also, jumping ahead here, CharlesDowell Jr. is not part of the descendants of Levi. In addition, concerning that, you're not supposed to be giving him money, because first and foremost, he's not a Levite, and he's not a righteous man either. So, you're only bringing sin upon yourself and allowing wickedness to show up in your life when you give to CharlesDowell Jr., including those of you who are not even in the faith, that just want to find someone to give money to, thinking you're doing a good thing. Laws for Israel. Guard the laws. Leviticus 18:4-5. Do my right rulings, guard my laws, to walk in them. I am Yahweh, your Elohim, and you shall guard my laws and my right rulings, which if a man does and lives by them, I am Yahweh. Leviticus 18:4-5. That's been broken. 1 Torah for all. One law for you of the assembly and for the stranger who sojourns with you. A law forever throughout your generations. As you are, so is a stranger before Yahweh. One Torah and one right ruling is for you and for the stranger who sojourns with you. Numbers 15, verse 15-16. That's been broken. And a side note, CharlesDowell Jr. loves some heathen, and he loves to throw the believers under the bus. He loves to exploit them, but when it comes to heathen, he's going to pull up a chair, he's going to have the carpet open for them, spread out, and eat some pizza and so forth. Geez, I wonder what kind of toppings that pizza had. When he last brought some, he brought one of the members' natural family over there, who are atheists, scientists, and they brought pizza. Teach your children. And that's definitely going to be broken, because he's going to teach Hezekiah and this other child to become cult leaders, to become Satanists and such. Make seats on your garments. Those suits that he has and that he gives, a good amount of them have been purchased, rented, or handed down. So that's been broken. Write the commands. We haven't seen them write the commands and shown up application and write them down. The commands as a sign. And it shall be as a sign to you on your hand, as a reminder between your eyes and the Torah of Yahweh, is to be in your mouth. For with a strong hand Yahweh has brought you out of Mizraim. Exodus 13:9. That has been discreetly broken. He knows how to quote scripture. That's a religious spirit. Deliberately define the Torah. Numbers 15:30-31. Let's get to this right here. He likes to quote this, huh? The being who acts defiantly, whether he is native or a stranger, he reviles Yahweh, and that being shall be cut off from among his people, because he has despised the word of Yahweh, and he has broken his command. That being shall certainly be cut off, his wickedness be upon him. CharlesDowell Jr. has broken that, and he has encouraged, motivated, and demonically charged individuals to break that too. The covenant of circumcision. He has allowed Herbert to remain a straightway uncircumcised, and so forth in the whole process. So that's been broken. Circumcision of the heart. That's been broken. Cursing parents. Cursing father and mother. For everyone who curses his father and his mother shall certainly be put to death. He has cursed his father and his dad and his mother. His blood is on him. CharlesDowell Jr. has millions of dollars from people who's handed it over to him, thinking he's going to do the work of the kingdom of the Shemayim, the heaven of heaven. And in that regard, his dad and his mother should have good quality housing to sustain them and good quality care. See, these religious demons are slick. Murder and killing, that has spiritually been broken. Exodus 21:12-14. Adultery, Deuteronomy 22, verse 22. That's been broken. Adultery and rape, Deuteronomy 22, verse 23-24. So that's been broken. And he likes to use his Mac Daddy game to go call at ladies to try to get with them. That way he can discreetly get it by with touching some woman he wants to get with. When a girl who is a maiden is engaged to a husband, and a man finds her in the city, lies with her, so straightway is supposed to be off-grids, countryside, homesteads, but it operates like a city to some level. Then you shall bring forth both to the gate of that city, and shall stone them to death with stones. The girl because she did not cry out in the city, and the man because he has humbled his neighbor's wife. Thus you shall purge evil from your midst. What's the example of this? Quote unquote, Sister Summer. Deuteronomy 22:25-27. That's been broken. Done on the down low. Stealthily. But if a man finds a girl who is engaged in the field, and the man seizes her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. But ye shall do no matter to the girl. The girl has no sin worthy of death. For the matter is like a man who rises against his neighbor and kills him. For he found her in the field, and she cried out. The engaged girl, but without anyone to save her. whoring. Leviticus 19:29. That's been broken at straightway truth ministry. Especially how he treats the women when he gets with them. Prostitution. Deuteronomy 23:17. None of the daughters of Israel is to be a cult prostitute, nor any of the sons of Israel to be a cult prostitute. You got idols over there, and you got guys over there in homosexual activity, such as Kabir. Mister, you give me life. And you have all these females who are not responsibly honoring the man they're underneath, but they're just being pimped out. And to gratify their ego, they call them master. And you have an older guy calling them master too. Those have been broken. Kidnapping, Exodus 21:16, that's been broken. Regarding stealing, Leviticus 6, verses 1 through 5, that's been broken. Theft of goods, Exodus 22, verse 7 through 28, that's been broken. Hatred towards your brother, Leviticus 19:17. Do not hate your brother in your heart. Reprove your neighbor for certain, and bear no sin because of him. That's been broken. Vengeance, bearing a grudge. Leviticus 19:18. Do not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the children of your people, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahweh. Leviticus 19:18. That's been broken. Magic and witchcraft. Deuteronomy 18, verses 10 through 14. That's been broken. A medium, spiritist. Leviticus 20:27. That's been broken. Tattoos and cuttings. That's up in the air. Oppressing your neighbor. Leviticus 19:13. Do not oppress your neighbor, and do not rob the wages of him who is hired. It is not to remain with you all night until morning. That's been broken. Strangers and sojourners. Leviticus 19:33-34. And when a stranger sojourns with you in your land, do not oppress him. Let the stranger who dwells among you be to you as the native among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were a stranger in the land of Mizraim. I am Yahweh your Elohim. That's been broken. Excluded from the assembly of Yahweh. Deuteronomy 23, verses 1 through 3, verses 7 through 8 as well. One who is wounded, mutilated, or genitalia cut off does not enter the assembly of Yahweh. One who is one of incestuous birth does not enter the assembly of Yahweh. Even the 10th generation of his does not enter the assembly of Yahweh. An Ammonite, a Moabite, or a Moabite does not enter the assembly of Yahweh. Even the 10th generation of them does not even ever enter the assembly of Yahweh. Do not loathe an Edomite, for he is your brother. Do not loathe a Mizraite, because you are a stranger in his land. The children of the 3rd generation, born to them, do not enter the assembly of Yahweh. This has been broken. There's a spiritual side of this where you do not emasculate your neighbor, especially your neighbor who is a man, to the point to where they're spiritually cut off. hey, he wants all these male servants. Why hasn't he taken them and having them personally cut off? You tell me. Vows, Deuteronomy 23, 21, verse 21 to 23. That's been broken. A rash oath, Leviticus 5, 4. Oh yeah, he's been speaking boldly, gonna make these oaths. That's been broken. A witness to swearing, Leviticus 5, 1. That's been broken. Slandering, Leviticus 19, 16. That's been broken. False reports, Exodus 23, 1. That's been broken. Following an evil crowd, 23, verse 2. Do not follow a crowd to do evil, nor bear witness in a strife, so as to turn aside after many, to pervert right ruling. So that's been broken. Malicious witness, Deuteronomy 19, verses 16 to 21. That's been broken. 2 or 3 witnesses, Deuteronomy 19, verse 15. That's been broken. Weights and measures, Deuteronomy 25, verses 13 to 16. Especially on the spiritual level, this has been broken. Judge righteously, Deuteronomy 1, verses 16 to 17. That's been broken. Justice for the poor, Exodus 23 to 6, verse 6. That's been broken. Strangers, fatherless, and widows, Deuteronomy 24, verse 17. Do not twist the right ruling of a stranger or the fatherless, nor take the garment of a widow. The twisting of judgment has been done here. That's been broken. Difficult judgment, Deuteronomy 17, verse 8 through 11. That's been broken. Bribery, Deuteronomy 16, verse 9. That's been broken. Punishment for wickedness, Deuteronomy 25, verse 1 through 3. That's been broken. A rebellious son, Deuteronomy 21, verse 18 to 21. That's been permitted as straightway. That's been broken over there as straightway. Especially Corey Phillips having multiple people beat his child. Widows and orphans, Exodus 22, verse 22 to 24. Do not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you do afflict them at all, if they cry out to me at all, I shall certainly hear their cry, and my wrath shall burn, and I shall slay you with the sword. Your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. This has been broken by technique. The best way to do it is to use brainwashing and deceptive tactics to get people to rush to get away from their family, and even cause their natural family to die off through various means, especially spiritual means, so that they become either widow, so the woman either becomes a widow or the child becomes disowned or childless because of the natural family members dying. And then they abuse them over there and mistreat them. Oh yeah, they don't want to talk about being a woman, don't they? The elderly. Leviticus 19:32, verse 32. Rise up before the gray-headed, and you shall show favor to the face of an old man, and shall revere your Elohim. I am Yahweh. That's been broken. The deaf and blind. Leviticus 19:14. Do not curse the deaf, or put a stumbling block before the blind, but revere your Elohim. I am Yahweh. That's been broken on the spiritual level. Individuals as straightway do not know he's cursing them, and he's blinding them with his indoctrination tactics and his doctrines that he teaches to indoctrinate them and deceive them. They don't know they have all these stumbling blocks being thrown their way to cause them to die. Cursing a ruler. Exodus 22:28. Do not revile Elohim, nor curse a ruler of your people. That's been broken. Repent and confess sins. Numbers 5, verse 6-7. When a man or woman commits any sin, that man commits and trespass against Yahweh, and that being is guilty, then they shall confess their sin which they have done, and he shall restore his guilt and his principal, plus 1/5 of it, and give it to whom he has been guilty. That's been broken. The Midash. Leviticus 19, verse 30. Guard my Sabbath and revere my Midash, temple. I am Yahweh. That's been broken. Lost possessions, Exodus 22:9. That's been broken. Borrowing and hiring. Exodus 22, verse 14-15. And when a man borrows from his neighbor, and it is injured or dies while the owner of it is not present, he shall certainly pay. But if the owner was with it, he does not pay. If it was hired, he is entitled to the hire. What else has been borrowed or hired that straightway and has not been restored? Lending at interest. Deuteronomy 23:19-20, verse 19-20. That's been discreetly broken. Taking a pledge. Deuteronomy 24:6, and as well as verse 1-13. No one takes in a pledge the lower or the upper millstone, for he would be taking a life in pledge. When you lend to your brother a loan, do not go into his house to get his pledge. Stand outside. Let the man to whom you lend bring the pledge out to you. And if the man is poor, do not sleep with his pledge, but by all means return the pledge to him at sundown. He shall sleep with his own garment, and shall barak you, and it shall be righteousness to you before Yahweh your Elohim. So he's kept people's stuff and hasn't returned it still, even after making promises and notes and deals. That's been broken. 7th year release, Deuteronomy 15, verse 1-3. That's been broken. The poor, Deuteronomy 15, verse 7-11. That's been broken. Forging, Deuteronomy 23, verse 24 to 25. That's been broken and not permitted, but everyone's supposed to have all things common. That has certainly been broken. Different materials, Deuteronomy 22:11. Do not put on a garment of different kinds of wool and linen together. That's been broken. Oh yeah, many individuals have been there with different type of clothing. The only time they ever wear anything close is those borrowed garments. Those garments, those hand-me-downs and everything else. And yet those going in with generic clothes. That's been broken. Protection from accident, Deuteronomy 22, verse 8. On different areas apart from the roofs, that's been broken. Things have happened on the lands because of the setup to allow accidents to happen. Especially that hill. That hill would definitely need guarding to keep people from having accidents. So, other accidents that have actually happened over there, that's been broken. Yep, we're getting there. A little bit longer. Making idols, Exodus 20, verse 5. That's been broken. Exodus 20, as well as verse 5 again. Bound to idols. That's been broken. Turning to idols, Leviticus 19:4. That's been broken. Altars and pillars of false mighty ones, Deuteronomy 7, verse 5. Especially when they were accusing Yaki of having idols and others of having idols, and they would kick him off the land and use that as a way to smear their name. They got some stuff over there for sure. So that's been broken. Idols in your house, Deuteronomy 7, verse 26. That's been broken. Names of false mighty ones, Exodus 23:13. That's been broken. One who serves false mighty ones, Deuteronomy 13, 6 through 11, verse 6 through 11. That's been broken. A city that has turned to idols, Deuteronomy 13, verse 12 to 16. That's been broken. Especially with all those individuals there making those lands as a city. They talk about trying to make straightway a city, their own personal city and township. So that's been certainly broken. A false prophet, Deuteronomy 18, verse 20. The prophet who presumes to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or who has spoken in the name of other mighty ones, even that prophet, Nabi, shall die. That's been broken. Signs and wonders, Deuteronomy 13, verse 1 to 3, as well as verse 5. That's been broken. The laws of other nations, Leviticus 20, verse 23. And do not walk in the laws of other nations, which I am driving out before you, for they do all these things, and therefore I loathe them. That's been broken. Slaughtering to false mighty ones, Exodus 22, verse 20. That has been spiritually broken. Offering your children to false mighty ones, Leviticus 20, verse 2 to 5. On the spiritual level, that's been broken. Now, next section here, sexual defilements. How many of these ladies that stray away to the ministry, young and old, have been violated, especially on their period? Oh, hold up here. Man with man. Leviticus 20:13. And the man who lies with a male, as he lies with a woman, both of them have done an abomination. They shall certainly be put to death. Their blood is upon them. The fruits there, the spiritual side of it, lying with a beast, Leviticus 20:15. And the man who has intercourse with a beast, he shall certainly be put to death, and the beast you kill. And the woman who approaches any beast and mates with it, you shall kill the woman and the beast. They shall certainly be put to death, their blood is upon them. Leviticus 20, verse 15. A man enticing a maiden. Exodus 2, verse 16 to 17. And when a man entices a maiden who is not engaged, and lies with her, he shall certainly pay the bride price for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he pays according to the bride price of maidens. That's been broken. Wearing the man's clothing, pertaining to the females. A woman does not wear that which pertains to a man, nor does a man put on a woman's garment. For whoever does this is an abomination to Yahweh, your Elohim. So the report's been brought out that the women, females underneath CharlesDowell Jr. will wear bikinis, underclothing, while they're on vacation. Especially a picture of Nelly in a bikini. So in the tentacle area there too, that's been broken. By causing his females to wear the things where when a man at dresses, especially when he's in the summer heat, they go around in their undergarments in those cases. And that's especially contemporary society too. So no matter what you try to fix it, that's been broken. When a man sees in a maiden, Deuteronomy 22, verse 28 to 29. When a man finds a girl who is a maiden, who is not engaged, and he seizes her and lies with her, and they are found out, then the man who lay with her shall give to the girl's father 50 pieces of silver, and she is to be his wife, because he has humbled her. He is not allowed to put her away all his days. That's been broken. Certificate of divorce. Deuteronomy 24, verse 1. When a man takes a wife and shall marry her, then it shall be, if she finds no favor in his eyes, because he has found a matter of shamefulness in her, and he shall write her a certificate of divorce, and put it in her hand, and send her out of his house. So on the down low, because all the technicalities thrown in there, running through the ladies there, that's been broken in the down low. Everything's been done to try to avoid that, but in spirits, they're in trouble for messing around there. A divorced wife. Deuteronomy 24, verse 2 to 4. Verse 2 to 4. And if she left his house and went and became another man's wife, the latter husband shall hit her, write her a certificate of divorce, and put it in her hand, and send her out of his house. When the later husband dies, who took her to be his wife, then her former husband who sent her away is not allowed to take her back to be his wife after she has been defiled, for that would be an abomination before Yahweh. On the down low, has this been allowed to be done in Straight Truth Ministry? They get rid of the guy or the husband, do some stuff, and make her say that she better not tell her else, and send her back to her man. A wife suspected of adultery. Numbers 5, verse 12 to 31. That's been broken. Especially in areas where the ladies are being ran through and they're not allowed to be inspected or tried to know if they committed adultery or they were engaged to someone else and someone was messing with them. Infection on the head or beard. Leviticus 13, verse 29 to verse 46. CharlesDowell Jr. has been developing an unusual mark on the side of his head, and the haircut that he has, it's not working out for him. And the way the people are over there, the individuals at Straight Truth Ministry, are they also messed up in the head too because of him? Because he's been sparing the sickness in the head to them? Agreement. Deuteronomy 23, verse 12 to 14. And you shall have a place outside the camp, where you shall go out, and you shall have a sharp implement among your equipment, and you shall sit down outside, you shall dig with it, and turn and cover your excrement. For Yahweh Yahweh your Elohim walks in the midst of your camp to deliver you and give your enemies over to you. Therefore your camp shall be Kodesh, and he shall that so that he does not see your uncleanness, your unclean matter among you, and shall turn away from you. That's been discreetly broken, especially with the septic tank systems. Even with the feast, that's been brought out. So the covering of excrement and so forth has been certainly broken. Do not defile the land. Do not Numbers 35, verse 34. Do not defile the land which you inhabit, in the midst of which I dwell, for I am Yahweh. I am dwelling in the midst of the children of Israel. That's been broken. Deuteronomy 7, verse 17 to verse 18, as well as verse 21. When you say in your heart, these nations are greater than I am unable to drive them out. Do not be afraid. Remember well what Yahweh Elohim did to Pharaoh and to all Mizraim. Do not be afraid of them, for Yahweh your Elohim, the great and awesome El, is in your midst. So again, do not be afraid. That's been broken. He talks about everyone else being a Philistine, and this and that and so forth. And he's over there hiding behind the camera like a chicken. So that's certainly been broken. Inheritance of the land, Numbers 27, verse 8, 11. That has not been kept. People don't have an inheritance over there. So that cannot be performed. The revenger of blood versus murder. Numbers 35, verse 15 to 30. That's been broken. You want an example of this? Come to find out, I know someone's been doing witchcraft over there at Straightway Truth Ministry, and it took someone else, such as Derek Minor and others, who are supposed to be spiritual brethren, and you want to use, 911, as well as other means to protect murderers, those who use the dark arts to murder people. Yeah, there's a couple of members in the faith who have actually been righteous to some degree. Let's not forget about Sheldon and the others there too, who have been killed off, and no one can avenge their blood because they're going to fix the narrative and everything else. So that has certainly been broken. There's others who have greater investment and importance with these individuals who have passed over or died, and they know that they were to such a level important. So, yes, individuals over there cannot get a vengeance for the blood of their spiritual brothers and spiritual sisters in the faith. So that has been broken. Tithe of the third year, Deuteronomy 26, verse 1 through 4, verse 12 to 14 as well. That can't be kept, so it's broken. And even with the opportunities to make it happen, it has not been performed. Do not fear. Deuteronomy 20, verse 3 to 4. Do not let your heart faint. Do not fear or tremble or be afraid before them. For Yahweh, your Elohim, is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. That's been broken. Afraid. Deuteronomy verse 20. Deuteronomy 20, verse 8. And the officers shall speak further to the people and say, who is the man who is afraid and tender of heart? Let him go and return to his house, lest the heart of his brothers faint like his heart. That's been broken. CharlesDowell Jr. once saw this internet beef. Where's Gideon rising up to rebuke him and check him? Where's Frogman? Where's the rest of them who are rising up to have CharlesDowell Jr. sit down and back off? The 50th year, Yobel, Jubilee, Leviticus 25, 8, verse 8 through 13. With all this so-called research that's been done, and all the so-called information of the law, that's been broken. And even if it was opportunity given, it would be broken still, because it would not be performed. Buying and selling in the Yobel, Jubilee, Leviticus 25, verse 14 to 16, that will certainly be broken. A poor brother, Leviticus 25, 35 through verse 38. And when your brother becomes poor, and his hand is filled with you, then you shall sustain him, and he shall live with you, like a stranger or a sojourner. Take no increase from him or profit, but you shall revere your Elohim, and your brother shall live with you. Do not lend him your silver on interest, and do not lend him your food for profit. I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim, to give you the land at Canaan, to be your Elohim. That's been broken. Section Sovereigns and Rulers. Because of technicalities, let's put this to the test here. Restrictions. Deuteronomy 17, verse 16 to 17. He is not to increase horses for himself, nor cause the people to return to Mizraim to increase horses. For Yahweh has said to you, do not return that way again. And he is not to increase wives for himself, lest his heart turn away, nor is he to greatly increase silver and gold for himself. Deuteronomy 17, verse 16 to 17. That's been broken. Tithe of the land, Leviticus 27, verse 30 to 33, as well as the tithe of harvest, Deuteronomy 14, verse 22 to 23, the tithe of the distance, Deuteronomy 14, verse 24 to 26. On technical levels, those have been broken because they're out here going to stores buying all this food when they're supposed to be giving their increase, and they're supposed to make it happen to where the people are fed off the land, especially during the feast too. And they're out here buying stuff from the stores, Walmart, and so forth. You can discount those laws from being done. Livestock that injures a man, Exodus 21, verse 28 to 32. And when an ox gores a man or a woman to death, then the ox shall certainly be stoned, and his flesh is not eaten, and the owner of the ox is innocent. However, the ox was previously in the habit of goring, and its owner has been warned, and he has not kept it confined, so it has killed a man or a woman. The ox is stoned, and its owner also is put to death. If a sin covering is laid upon him, then he shall give the ransom of his life, whatever is laid on him. Whether it has gored a son or gored a daughter, according to this right ruling, it is done to him. If the ox gores a male or female, he is to give to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox is stoned. So there's been reports of individuals messing with the animals over there and getting thrown up in the air, according to all the stories told by CharlesDowell Jr. So why aren't the animals and the people dealt with accordingly? The Yobel, Leviticus 25, verse 11 to 12, as well as verse 20 to 22. That has not been kept. And as the way things are going, it will not be kept either. So that would be broken. So we're closing on here towards the end of this matter. The section on servants. Servants' rest. So the ladies over there are supposed to be treated as servants until they get married. And even when they're married, they're still treated like servants. Servants' rest. Exodus 23, verse 12. That's been broken. Oppressing servants. Deuteronomy 24, 14. That's been broken. Female servants. Exodus 21, verse 7. Since people are being kidnapped and talked into their own kidnapping, and they eventually find out that they're not allowed to go free into some other man's house so that he can decide if he wants to remain on those slave camps or to do whatever else. So that's been broken as well too. The women over there are slaved out, so as the ladies, and the girls are slaved out. They don't know they're being turned into servants and bond maidens. An engaged female servant, Exodus 21, verse 18 to 11, that's been broken because the women are being, quote unquote, pumped and dumped, passed around. Smiting the servant, Exodus 21, verse 20 to 21. Has people been discreetly assaulted over there? Are they just using the spiritual side by smiting people with words and cursing them? Intercourse with a engaged servant, Leviticus 19, verse 20. According to their doctrine, that's been broken. A poor brother as a servant, Leviticus 25, 39, verse 39 to 43, that's been broken. A Hebrew servant, Deuteronomy 15, verse 12 to 14, that's been broken. A Hebrew servant's wife and family, that has not been kept. Exodus 21, 4, that has not been kept. There's been loopholes, so discreetly that has been broken. And people have left and got out of there. And even people broken up just to save their souls alive from that evil over there. A servant who wishes to remain, Deuteronomy 15, verse 16 to 17. That's been broken. All this wordplay and confusion, the guys over there and the ladies don't know if they're free or they're servants. So their servants, where's the awl poured into their ear? An escaped servant, Deuteronomy 23, verse 15 to 16. So that has not been kept. If they could, they would try to snatch people up and kidnap them again if they could. So that would definitely be broken. Servants' wages, Deuteronomy 24, verse 15. That's been broken. Now going ahead over here to offerings. Perfect without defect. Leviticus 22, verse 20 to 25. So the emphasis on the spiritual side of this gets talked about. That's been broken. Bring offerings to Yahweh. Leviticus 17, verse 2 through 7, that's been broken. All these animals, food, money, and so forth, that's supposed to be dispersed among the assembly instead of CharlesDowell Jr. robbing Yahweh. Show a man rob Yah? That is not good. That has certainly been broken. And the spiritual side of these other offerings, those have been used as a front, so they cannot be accepted. Robbery, extortion, Leviticus 6, verse 2 to 11. So, as much as CharlesDowell Jr. has been taking from people, extorting them and cheating them for what they have, along with his cohorts, they have not restored, nor have they brought in some kind of restitution, and so forth, in today's standard. So that's been broken. And of course, with an engaged servant, Leviticus 19, verse 20 to 22, that's been broken. No restitution has been made there either. Yes, offering for cleansing of a leper, Leviticus 4, verse 2 to 32. As much as these individuals that straightway get sick and everything else, why aren't they bringing offerings every time they get well? So that's been broken. And that's the right vow. Numbers 6, verse 2 to 21. That's not allowed, so one way or another, that would be broken as well too. Because men are not allowed to have dreadlocks and the such. Now, section Berkoth and curses. The Berkoth, blessings, the Baraka, Deuteronomy 28, verse 1 to 4, as well as the curses, Deuteronomy 28, verse 1, verse 15 to 68. So that's a major violation there too. Because of all the disobedience, and straightway, the curses of Deuteronomy 28 apply, and the Berkoth, that's broken. So that concludes it there. A sufficient hour and a half breakdown of the sins, iniquities, and transgressions. Specifically, the violations of the Torah that CharlesDowell Jr. has done. Others have been included for this matter because of the doings and the deceptiveness that he works by. So in this, CharlesDowell Jr. certainly does not have that law in the inward parts. He's a heathen, and those of you who hear him give the word every Friday night, as well as Saturday morning, to some kind of level, and here and there, whatever you learned, pack up and get away from him, and the rest of his henchmen and henchwomen too. You don't want to be cursed or cursed with them either. And so that's to say, those of you who are still straightway and are hearing this, the intent of this is being done in love, so that someone may be saved, may turn from wickedness, and may be kind of worthy to enter the kingdom.